Hi guys, Kim here. Something that came to me this morning when I woke, and I just thought it was worth sharing. I have had this concept for a while where I've shared with you guys the idea that memories are held in the water in our bodies, and that when we cry, we shed the hurt, we cry out the pain, so to speak. Well, this morning the thought was that the memory isn't only in the water, but it's in our blood too. And with this, I got this vision of Frankenstein lying on the table and him being charged with an electric charge to bring him to life. So I've been following Martin Leakey for quite some time, and in one of his videos on the Notre Dame in Paris, he presents the idea that the bones in the catacombs were used to generate electricity in the past, and he shows how this could have been possible. So back to my idea this morning that came to me, that when somebody dies, we often have the experience of conversing with that person, or perhaps seeing that person, seeing a vision of them. Certainly a big percentage of people I know have had some thought of connecting to the person that's died, and that this often occurs between the time of death and the funeral. Well, it came to me this morning that the reason that these communications, for want of a better description, do not extend beyond the funeral is that the energy is contained in the blood, and that these days the vast majority of people are cremated, and therefore their blood is not there to communicate with after they've been cremated. It would only be there on an ongoing basis if the said individual had been buried in the ground and not cremated. I know that many of you know of communications with the dead beyond the cremation date, but these tend to be with mediums, so with a person in between, and not by direct contact. I used to do the markets every weekend, and there was this guy who'd set up a sanctuary type of place and was asking people to join his sanctuary. It wasn't a religious thing, but one morning he told me the story of how he came to be in the position he was in. He had a teenage son who'd been at a party one Sunday night in a different town, and the man had gone to bed about 10:30 on the Sunday night, and he'd gone to sleep, but then he'd been woken by his son's voice, and his son was standing next to him by the bed. His son told him that he'd been in an accident and that he'd died, and he described the circumstances in which the car had swerved off the road, off the freeway, rammed into a metal barrier on the side of the road, and the barrier had pierced through the windscreen and into his heart. There were also other people in the car which had all survived but were in a bad condition. And he told his father personal information such as where to get keys to a safety deposit box, and also serial numbers attached to things which had been locked away. His father was calm, listened intently to the son for about 30 minutes, and then the telephone rang, and it was the police informing the father that the son had been in a car accident and died. So the son had gone, but the one thing that remained with the guy was a profound change through this experience. He learned through this experience that there was more to this world than the 3D nature of which he'd been living his life in. And so he made a big shift, a big change in his life. And he spent the next few years putting all of his energy into building this sanctuary of peace and harmony based upon what his son had told him during that 30-minute exchange. He never spoke to his son again after that. Only that once, the night that his son died. Anyway, that's it from me today. Ta-ta for now.